be honest, I thought I would have a lot of time to do this AMA, but with the explosion of doing engine sim stuff, it's almost 6K and I've only just suddenly gotten around to doing this video. And I want to say thank you. It is very much appreciated that you guys are here. Now, I wanted to do this video specifically because a lot of my content doesn't really lead to me talking about myself or like really telling you anything about me. So there's quite a bit of a disconnect, and a lot of people seem to want to know me better, which is fine, sure, but I didn't really have that way to do that. The only thing that I've really ever done in this sort of regard is to really voice my opinions on cars during my streams. So I thought today we'll do the 5K AMA. Is there any other cars you intend to buy soon, or are you focused on that MG? I'm focused on waiting for the weather to be less poopy. The weather right now is not great. It's way too cold. My fingers just get way too painful to work in just the dreary weather it is. And also, once I start, I can't really stop, and I'm not putting it in the shed because it just won't fit with the tools that I need to work with. So I need to work on it from beginning to end without there being any pause for rain or anything like that, which will just become a real hassle. So I want to wait for the weather to be better. It may be too hot, that is absolutely fine. As long as it doesn't rain during that time period, then I'll get that finally done. I'm not going to be buying any more cars. I'm going to fix the MG, then I'm going to fix my Ute, which has that transmission and exhaust issue, quite bad at the moment. Then we've got my ST150. I love that car so goddamn much, but that engine is done. It needs a new engine. So that's kind of my car stuff at the moment. I have a Volvo 360, but that's more of a long-term project. I'm never going to stress about that one. That one's going to be there if I ever tinker, which I do tinker with occasionally. Will I ever make a video where I actually race go-karting to Formula V? This is actually something I've been thinking about a lot recently. I really want to go to the Bend, which is a race course in a place called Tailem Bend, which is relatively close to where I live. It's in South Australia, so everywhere you want to go is always a really long distance away. The problem is I don't have any cars for actually taking to track days. The MGF, when I finish that one, I'll probably do a track day with that one, but then that'll become my daily driver, and then the Ute will be repaired, so then I can tow around the ST150. And the ST150, I'm thinking I might actually do some proper racing with, because my god, I love that car, but it is in horrible condition right now. Oh my god, it's just broken front bumpers and whatnot from a rabbit I hit one time, and those bumpers are really expensive to replace. The engine is cacking it. All of the panels are just all dented all over the place from a hailstorm, which we've never had the likes of in South Australia before. Yes, global climate change is even affecting here in South Australia, where we normally have some of the most mild weather all year round. It just gets really hot and just really cold. Like, it's not been quite that. In fact, apparently, there was even a mini cyclone or something like that just recently that ripped through one of the suburbs not far from where I live. Oh my god. Do you already own your dream car? If not, what is it? I don't really focus so much on dream cars, just cars that are exciting me at the time. So occasionally I will go out and buy a new car because it's like a car that I really want. The MGF is a pretty cool car. I did have a 262, but that thing was so goddamn rusted, and it's my dad. I love my dad, but he did kind of illegally sell it out from underneath me, but it was stored at his place. So what happened is I had the car sitting there, and I'd lost all motivation to work on cars at this point, and it was just sitting there, rusting away even worse than what it was because I'd stripped back the paint and only put primer on it. I treated that car very poorly, but I loved it so much. And then my dad was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to sell this. It was a dick move, but fair enough. And I probably wouldn't have worked on it for another couple of years later anyway. So that's pretty much one of the only ones, maybe like something like a Lotus, really hardcore sort of hunker down track beastie sort of thing. Then there's like the absolute dream cars, like the ones that you'll never afford, would be the Bugatti EB110. Growing up, I had a toy model of that. I don't know where it is right now. That and maybe the Jaguar XJ220. I grew up knowing about that car and was always just smitten with how like interesting and cool it was, and how it ended up plummeting in price, which is part of the reason why I was like, oh yeah, I might be able to afford this car one day. I think one sold for like $12,000 like 20 something years ago because they were just so disliked at the time. I think that may have been like a special use case maybe for that sale, but that's the sort of stuff that was happening to the XJ220 and why I went, oh, and why I love it so much, even though it is such a flawed vehicle. What motivated you to get to this point? How would you describe your YouTube journey has been like? So when I was in about 2010 sort of time period, I started getting into filmmaking. I went to a few different films, worked on them, and really thought I want to be a director. So I started getting what I needed because I dropped out of school horribly in year 10. So I had to go back and get like some adult education stuff, which was a specific type of school here, which would give me the like minimum requirements I would need to go to university. And then I was also thinking, if I don't get into actual doing filmmaking, I could also use this to go teach English in Japan. I am a massive weeaboo, and that was something that was always like, oh, I really want to do that. But then doing the degree itself, I fell even more in love with filmmaking, and I really wanted to do it, and I was destroyed when the right-wing politicians got elected into Australia and cut all arts funding basically down to a bare minimum, which meant that I couldn't get a job doing indie filmmaking, which is my first choice. But really what I was realistically looking at doing was getting into advertising. But since everyone was now out of the jobs of those sorts of things, they had suddenly taken up all of the corporate jobs and whatnot, meaning that there was almost no work whatsoever, apart from doing things like live weddings and whatnot, which I have tried and I hate doing. Worst thing, don't film weddings or any sort of special events. You'll never satisfy anybody. It's just not worth it. So at the end of university, I was still applying for jobs and whatnot, but I thought, you know what, let's just try a little bit of YouTube. And my first video isn't up anymore, but like my second, where I tried a lot harder, was my first one that you should be able to see on my YouTube channel, which is me doing spin tires. I really loved spin tires when it first came out, and there's a game that I want to get back into, but it's really hard because I feel like I've basically done it all sort of thing. Then I started to hate editing too much. I went on to doing streaming for a long time, and there were my ups and downs. The reason why I'm not a big fan of donations and whatnot is because during around this sort of time, I got donated 1,000 Australian dollars, and I said, wow man, that's a lot of money. You can take that back if you want. Otherwise, after a couple of weeks, it becomes permanent. You can't take it back. And I was like, I wanted to give them the out because that was too much money to give me. And then, like 6 or 7 months later, I had spent the money. Yeah, I just incorporated it into my normal money and it was gone. And then he did an illegal chargeback, and PayPal took his side. They don't actually review anything. They just go, yep, sure, just agree with the person and just pretend as if we did, which was absolute bullshit. I hated it. I avoid PayPal like a plague now. I do not trust them whatsoever in any way. And you as well, I suggest don't trust PayPal. Then I had like a period where I did a little bit of work and I wasn't really creating anything, and I got bored and stale, and I was just like, I want to do something. And then I started coming across, because I was using automation in the game, then I saw it was being suggested in my YouTube recommended. I started watching this stuff and I saw a few YouTubers there and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start doing something. And I'm actually going to force myself to do like YouTube properly just for a little bit, and then we'll just kind of chuck it on my resume, say that, hey, look, I can hold a schedule and stuff like that to help me maybe get a better job, a prospect, something like that. And it actually caught on really popular. I did 100 videos in 100 days. That was my goal. And apart from like a few little hiccups there, like a computer broke and my previous dog Pugsley, who I absolutely loved, died, just destroyed me. I had to take a bit of a break then. Yeah. Since then, it's history. You guys know what's happened. You guys love this stuff that I just arbitrarily one day thought, you know what, let's just try making automation stuff and sticking it on a resume. Being a producer is probably what I would prefer to be than being a YouTuber, because there is a lot of energy that's required to be a YouTuber that a lot of times I just feel I don't have. And on top of that, I feel like the massive that a lot of people talk about is the imposter syndrome. I don't feel that I really deserve this. But I then feel I have to make up for it by putting a lot of effort into like the back end of my video making and my editing and, did I say editing? I meant editing. Wait, I don't even know how to speak anymore. Anyway, you get the idea. So I put a lot of effort into my videos, which is why I only release like 2 videos a week. It's because I burn out every week on doing the production and editing of my videos. What are my thoughts on the current state of YouTube? I feel that YouTube is trying to muscle out all of the competitors and then will treat all of the creators like garbage. Which is what they've done in the past, but then competitors pop up, and then they're like, oh, no, we'll treat you a little bit better again, we'll be a little bit nicer, and then those competitors go away, and then they treat you like garbage again. It's all Susan. Susan, she sucks. People make her out to be not that bad, but she is actually a corporate person that is always thinking about money first, which is okay. It's nice. I'm getting paid to make videos. It's fantastic. I think that is great. She brought that to YouTube, but she's not doing it for the creator. She's doing it for the company. And because of that, there is like no support that actually feels real for any YouTuber out there, and it is garbage. Even like the top tier YouTubers, they talk to their reps and whatnot, and then their reps are like getting overturned by what YouTube corporate is doing. It's very weird and not focused towards the people that are actually the ones that are making the money. It's focused towards the ones that are like the side effect, the ones that are bringing in and paying the money, not the ones that are actually the reason why they're paying the money, which is not the way I feel YouTube should be run. But that's my 2 cents worth. Have you been surprised by how much your channel has grown in the past year? And what plans do you have in the future? Yes. When I first started doing these videos, so let me put it into context for you. I was putting in high effort videos for YouTube. I was even doing daily sort of stuff from about 2014 to about 2018 sort of time period. And during that time, I accumulated 145 subscribers. Not great. The moment I started releasing automation content, however, oh my god, it has really, really blown up, and you guys love it, and it's been surprising. And then when I would do collaborations, which I'm not doing collaborations to grow, and I have learned how much you don't often grow from collaborations. I was actually just doing it because I felt that it would be good content. And now that I'm doing this engine sim stuff as well, which I really do enjoy, I'll be talking about that in the future, because now automation is kind of fixed their audio stuff. Not 100% always going to, yeah, that'll come up later. This growth that I'm feeling at the moment, that I'm seeing at the moment, sorry, is ginormous. I don't know if it's sustainable. I keep on seeing some YouTubers exploding in growth, but I've seen explosions in growth on my channel a few times now, and they always come back down. I don't know if this is gonna keep going, but every day that I see that it's still going, I'm like, what is happening? It's really, really cool. And one of my goals in the future, I did a little bit of a post that kind of explained it a little bit. My goals in the future are, first, 10k subscribers, which will just be kind of like a yay. I feel as if at that point, I don't have to be ashamed by calling myself a YouTuber, but I won't feel like I've actually made a proper career at it until I reach 100,000. At the moment, I don't tell people I'm a YouTuber. It's a little bit embarrassing. Other goals include earning enough money in a month to actually sustain myself and then get off of government payments, which is demoralizing. I need to, you know what? I wasn't gonna have my headphones on, but to hold this microphone up, I'm just gonna plop them on. There we go. Now my microphone's not gonna flop around so much. After my goal of reaching money, what I'm then going to do is have a goal to earn enough money to be able to pay an editor, which will be so good. And at that point, I'll probably actually start releasing more videos, at least 3 times a week, but depending on how it goes, I may return to doing like one every 2 days, or maybe even one a day during the working week. We'll see how that goes. It really depends on a lot of different factors, including whether I find myself a good editor that, not as just a good editor, but one that actually works pretty well with my style. What advice would you give someone just starting YouTube? I'm going to give the same answer that most people that are doing YouTube say, which is don't. YouTube is incredibly stressful, and it's only something that I've come to realize recently. And the reason why they say don't is most people underestimate the self-management of mental health you actually have to do. I would say that 40% of the effort that goes into doing YouTube is actually just trying to maintain your own mental health. Now, if you're not mentally well looked up, I don't know how to say that. Emotionally balanced, that's the one. Emotionally balanced. If you're not fully emotionally balanced and you don't feel depression outside of YouTube before you do YouTube, that will greatly affect you. If you're a depressed person, go to do YouTube, you're probably not going to flourish in this environment. It is so stressful. All the times being like, am I good enough? Am I doing good enough? Is this enough? Is everything, anything ever enough? If, however, you are determined to do it, do not underestimate editing, and really, what I would suggest is look at somebody that you approve of and just try doing the sort of videos that they do. That includes like the prep work, the recording itself, maintaining their energy, and doing whatever it is they do. For instance, there was this one YouTuber that spends a lot of time doing his Minecraft videos, and he puts in days worth of recording and then has another editor do it, which takes days or maybe even a week to edit one of these videos. It's crazy. Do all of that at least for one video and try to set yourself a schedule and see whether you can maintain it. If you can maintain for months on end a schedule of, say, even if it's only you have time to do one video a week, but try to do more than one video a week maybe. If you can only do one a month, that's fine. Try to push yourself hard and see if you have the ability to do it. And if you make it past that and you feel that you're doing well, then great. I think you can make it in YouTube. But yeah, the mental stress, I really underestimated it. If you're planning to continue the F1 series and finish it, will you do another sports league or stick to normal videos? Yes, totally. The F1 series will come to an end eventually. There's becoming less cars after the 70s because they're less experimental, but there will be a few more and whatnot, and I have one last car to do in the 70s for F1. And then after that, I'm actually thinking about doing things that I don't know anything about, like IMSA or Can-Am, or even NASCAR, maybe a few other things. NASCAR might not be a particularly interesting sort of one because they're just road cars and then they become like full-blown race cars that are very much the same with different decals on it by the end, basically. I'm also planning, I think the next one I'm going to do is more going to be a Le Mans sort of series. That one's a little bit more technical. I am really daunted by even starting it because I have set like a really high like thing that I want to do for it. But that's all in the future right now. That's not right now. That'll be maybe a year down the track. That is heavy to think about. Part 2. If you do get worn out, how long will you take to recover, make another video? I have been on like the teetering edge of burning out now for like probably 6 months. I am worn out. I just know. YouTube says, no, take breaks. Your viewers will come back. Kind of. Viewers will come back, but not all of them. I feel that every time I've taken a little bit of a break, I've taken a hit of about like 6 months worth of progress I've made on growth. I feel that like it's immediately taken away if you take more than like a couple of weeks off. It is horrific, and YouTube does not care about the mental health of their creators. If so, they would come up with a way of you like maybe hitting I'm taking a break button, and then it just holds your analytics and holds your impressions, which is like the big one, the impressions. Hold your impressions until you get back and then not punish you for taking that break, which it does. It punishes you for taking breaks, and fuck Susan for doing that. I am, however, thinking when I stabilize, maybe if I get like constant growth, around 10K, I'm probably going to take a month off. I really need a break. What is your most underrated video in your opinion, and what has been your most enjoyable series to make? Most underrated? That's a bit tricky, because my videos go before I started doing the automation stuff. So I have one on Car Mechanic Simulator, which I was particularly proud of. Then I had one on Farming Simulator, which I kind of got a little bit tired of making in the middle of it, so it didn't really come out exactly the way I wanted it. And then one that was like, I was tired by like halfway through preparing the video and then releasing it, which was one on Escape from Tarkov. Aside from that, I've got one on switching to left-handed for first-person shooters and whatnot, because I am left-hand dominant. In automation itself, underrated. I did like my old, like the much earlier stuff that I did in 2019. I did a video about like being a dictator in a dictator's car. I really liked that one. I thought that one was pretty fun. And that was the first one where people actually said, wow, I really like you. Like, it really felt as if by that point, I had created my own sort of thing. And yeah, I liked that one a lot. But as far as my most favorite ones to do, even though it's incredibly stressful, any of the build and race stuff. Build and race is so much fun. Once I get past like all the prep, all the stupid questions, all organizing people to do everything, which is so incredibly stressful, and then running the event whilst being in the event, so stressful. I still love it, and that is my favorite series, bar none. F1, I like the research. I like researching, doing all that sort of stuff, the prep work for it. I love that. But the build and race just feels so good, especially when people aren't cheating and doing like funny buggers. I just like to see how, if we try to make the same sort of thing, who's the better builder? And sure, I suck at racing, so even if I am the better builder, it doesn't really entirely work all the time. When cat made costume? Never. It's not really my sort of thing. Rye does it, but Rye is Rye. Love Rye, but I'm not Rye. What was the best day of your life? The day I talked to Rye. No, I'm joking. The best day of my life? Ignoring hindsight and how I felt on the day would probably be when I got married, which ended up being not a great marriage, and then we got divorced, which is not great. But like, on terms of like emotional how I felt, that was a pretty big day. Yes, I was married and I am divorced. Arguably, probably I got married too young, and it wasn't really an issue for me. Age isn't really a thing, but she was 10 years older than me, but really quite immature, which helped because then we were around a similar sort of maturity. Great! She was not really for me. My current partner, I love. We've been together much longer than my marriage was, and I absolutely love her. She is fantastic. And when I was married, I also started to not believe so much in monogamy anymore. So when I also started dating her, she was like, oh yeah, no, let's not be monogamous. I don't really exercise that much at all, but I feel just like not being locked into you can never be with anybody else ever again has also been particularly great. And I feel that I have never dated anybody that is on my wavelength as much as her as well. So I feel a follow-up answer to that would also be every single day that I spend with my partner, because she's also a weeaboo. She loves Japan. She loves dogs as well. She's just, yeah, a gamer girl. Love it. And her. When H16 Engine? I mean, I can do it. It won't be great, but I can do it. That's actually, you know what? You could do multiple crankshafts, and I think I might actually do that. I think I may have seen somebody do something similar on YouTube with Engine Sim, but now that I know I can do these weird, wacky things, I think I'm going to try that out. As for when, I don't know. It is not on my list at the moment. It's a thing that I might be able to do in the future. Oh, I can do it, but it's a thing that I might do in the future, so who knows? When Father Return? For me? What? What version of automation do you use? I just keep it automatically updated on Steam with the open alpha. Rye over Twin Turbos on YouTube has on his channel how to actually get that. It's pretty simple stuff. Automation at the moment is on a frickin' roll. But yeah, that is all of the questions we got. and I enjoyed answering them. I might do one of these way off in the future, but for now I feel as if there's not really many more questions. This was left open, people could have put more questions there, but for now I'm just really enjoying YouTube and what's happening. Sure, I'm feeling burnt out, but I can enjoy something that I'm burnt out on still. Like, I'm in this like constant teetering as well with automation. I'm burnt out on automation, but I'm always so drawn. I want to make more stuff in automation. It's fantastic, I love it. But for now, yeah, thanks for being here on this journey with me. I think it's fantastic. Almost a 6K when I'm doing my 5K AMA. Like, oh my god, it's crazy. What I want to do, and don't tell Consider, is overtake Consider in subscriber numbers. Because Consider's stopped making stuff. They're just doing other stuff at the moment. They're enjoying life, doing whatever. But I looked at Consider as like the big YouTuber in this space. And I probably by the time I get there, I'll be over, like other people will keep growing, like Twin Turbos, all that sort of stuff. Trice is a little bit bigger than me, so he might get there before I do. Who knows? I'll feel that, like, I'm at that level which I looked up to. Anyway, for now, I would like to thank all my channel members. That includes specifically Ruben and DeHelleman for being top tier people. Thank you very much. You guys have made all of this possible. That includes the 5K, the AMA that I bothered to even make. Yeah, all thanks to you guys. For now, catch you all next time. Goodbye. Whew, it is really hot in this room now, and I should probably go put pants on.